Today I want to talk about a very interesting topic. I want to talk about Craig Breslow and whether or not he is going into the most crucial trade deadline of his entire career. Sean McAdam put out his Sunday column talking about Craig Breslow and whether or not this could be the hottest his seat ever is at a trade deadline. We're going to discuss all of that in today's video. But before we do, I want to get the pulse of Red Sox Nation. Is Craig Breslow on the hot seat? H for hot if you think he is. Type that in the comments down below. Or C if you think his seat is cold. I want to hear your thoughts, and we're going to talk about it all in today's video. Welcome back into another edition of the Red Sox Rundown. I'm your host, Jack. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. Craig Breslow is the name at the top of today's show, and then we will talk about the Red Sox win over the Chicago Cubs. But like I already mentioned in the cold open, Sean McAdam put out his weekly Sunday column, The Things I Think, and talked about Craig Breslow. With the deadline coming up, could he be on the hot seat? Is this a director of baseball operations that is directly on the hot seat? And it's something interesting to think about because the Red Sox have had a rotating door of front office officials over the past few years. Chaim Bloom being the most recent example. He lasted 3 years in the Red Sox front office. He traded away Mookie Betts. He built up the farm system, and while they never had any real tangible success, 2021 aside, he still got the boot after a few years. So with Breslow in his second year, next year his third year as the director of baseball operations, or whatever the heck his title is, basically he's the GM, but whatever the title is, could he be on the hot seat if something goes desperately wrong this year? I mean, a lot of people don't like Craig Breslow, and rightfully so. I understand. There's a lot of criticism around Breslow as this GM, and I'm going to call him the GM. I know he's got a different title, but he is the general. He does what the general manager of a team does. So I'm going to call him the GM in this video, so please just forgive me. You have to look at the track record to decide whether or not someone's on the hot seat. The 2024 deadline was a massive failure. We all know that. I think Breslow would even acknowledge that. James Paxton came in, blew out, I believe it was something in his leg in his first start, was gone. Failure of a trade. Lucas Sims, Luis Garcia come in. Oh, okay, great. You have reinforcements to the bullpen. They both stunk. They weren't good at all. And then Danny Jansen was fine, but didn't move the needle in a way that was going to get that 2024 team to a postseason. Now, was that those acquisitions, or was that the culture and the roster that was already there? You could argue, and I would argue, that the roster that was already there wasn't a playoff team. And I think most people could argue that. Well, then he goes into the 2025 offseason and he absolutely nails it. You know, there was a lot of acquisitions in the offseason that even myself included scoffed off and said they were bad acquisitions. But if you look back at his track record, Breslow nailed the 2025 offseason. You trade for Garrett Crochet for a package that I think, honestly, a lot of us are going to look back at as a steal. You give up Kyle Teal, yes, but we found the catcher of our future, which I'll talk about in a second. Not only do you bring in Garrett Crochet, you extend him, and you don't extend him for too much. The deal is nowhere near what he would have gotten on the free agent market in a few years. Nowhere near. You bring in Alex Bregman. You had to get a little crafty with the contract. Alex Bregman is still TBD. So far, he's been great. You know, Jen McCaffrey put out an article about how he's been the prototypical leader of a locker room, and then he hits dingers, which is great. But that one in particular is a TBD because you need to extend him, like yesterday. If that doesn't happen, Bregman might be successful for a year, but he was also injured for almost half the year. So that one's a little TBD, but so far it's been a massive success. Aroldis, Chapman, and Justin Wilson were two of my least favorite acquisitions of the offseason. They've been two of your biggest contributors in the bullpen. Aroldis Chapman has turned into vintage prime Chapman, and he is your closer. I scoffed at and graded poorly the Chapman and Justin Wilson acquisitions. They've both been fantastic. And then Carlos Narvaez. The second trade that happened on Garrett Crochet Day. the smaller trade that everyone scoffed off and no one knew anything about. They said, oh, okay, you just got this minor league catcher from the Yankees. Carlos Narvaez is your catcher of the future. He's going to be your catcher for years and years and years and years and years to come. Connor Wong is no longer the de facto number one. Not even close. It's Carlos Narvaez. He is your catcher of the future. And that was highway robbery. You gave up, I don't even remember, some lowly prospect, and you got your catcher of the future. I mean, you absolutely nailed it. Craig Breslow nailed this offseason. Walker Buehler has been, off and on, hasn't been great as of late, but he started to pick it back up a little bit. That one's a big TBD. But as of right now, that would seem to be a failure of a move. But he went out and got another starter, which the Red Sox desperately needed. So the 2025 offseason has been a massive success. So, okay, let's look at the track record. 2024 trade deadline, not great. His first trade deadline. He was a little more conservative, didn't make any big, bold moves. Okay. 2025 offseason, when you really needed to make a splash, you did. By all accounts, you aced the offseason. Again, if Walker Buehler comes out and he gives you good enough starts, you basically hit on everything you did in the offseason. So far, great tenure for Craig Breslow. Then you get into the Rafael Devers situation, which he handled horribly. This is the low point of his entire, reign as the Red Sox general manager. It comes down to him. Craig Breslow did not execute those conversations with Devers properly. Did not have the conversations. And this is on Cora too, yes, but it's the GM's job to also communicate these things to the players if there's going to be some sort of roster moving. That didn't happen. And now Devers is on the San Francisco Giants. Now, could that be for better or for worse? I mean, so far, it seems like the Red Sox kind of got off scot-free. And you did actually bring in, now that we look at it, you brought in a very interesting package of prospects and potential pitchers. Jordan Hicks has been good for you so far in the bullpen. Kyle Harrison, if they can retool him and reinvent him, could be a frontline starter in your rotation for years and years and years to come. James Tibbs has the potential to be your everyday first baseman in the future if he works out. And then you've got another young prospect who, that's a big old TBD. We have no idea. So while the Devers situation, I came on this program and complained about the Devers situation for weeks. I have had people in my comments saying, you cried about Devers for weeks. Well, Devers was the best player on your team, was the best hitter on your team. You don't just give him away for a salary dump. But as the Red Sox stand right now, they might have won that trade. So what I'm trying to say in this whole thing is, one, I do not think Breslow is anywhere near on the hot seat. I think that he has the backing of the organization. I think he has the backing of Alex Cora and everyone in that front office and clubhouse. And overall, low-key, he's actually been really good as the Red Sox general manager. He's had a few slip-ups here or there, but overall, he has nailed his first year and a half as the Red Sox general manager. I had people in my comments saying, Jack, do you really trust Breslow? And we talked about this probably a week or so ago. Do you really trust Breslow to execute properly at the deadline for the Red Sox? And I kept saying, astounded yes. Yes. I mean, he proved it in the offseason that he was willing to make divisive moves. He proved it with the Devers trade, that he was willing to make divisive moves and decisive moves. And I trust him to lead this franchise forward. I really do. And I trust him at the deadline. Now, the deadline might not be something crazy because the market is just so empty. There's nobody there. There's a bunch of middling teams that aren't going to sell. So it's a very interesting situation. But low-key, he's been pretty good. Alex Cora extension. I get it. People want to crap on Cora, but he is the best manager that you could possibly have for this team. They locked him down to an extension when he was considering not coming back. You extend Garrett Crochet. That was massive. That had to happen. Had to happen. And then you extend Kristian Campbell. I get it. Everyone wants to crap on Kristian Campbell. He kind of flamed out. But do you remember how he started the season? He started the season one of the best players in the entire league. If he can rekindle that, he's going to be a mainstay in your roster for years to come, and you locked him down for what everyone is calling highway robbery. Breslow's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. He does have to nail this deadline, though. Because if this is 2 straight years where you flame out in the second half and don't make the playoffs, there will be conversations in the offseason. Because you went and you executed in the offseason. You brought in Alex Bregman. You brought in Garrett Crochet. You brought in Aroldis Chapman. You brought in all of these guys. If you don't execute at the deadline, if you do not get proper reinforcements, that is the second deadline in a row that you've failed, and that would be the second season in a row that you would not make the playoffs. Boston sports fans cannot wait that long. We have waited for years, and we have watched mediocre baseball for years. This is the roster to get you to the promised land. And by promised land, I mean playoffs. I'm not saying World Series, I mean playoffs. I think there are World Series windows in the next few years. But he does need to nail this deadline. But at the end of the day, I think Breslow will be fine. So you go down below in the comments, you let me know. Craig Breslow as the Red Sox GM so far in his tenure. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know down below. I want to hear your thoughts. Those were my long-winded thoughts on how I think Breslow's been as a GM. I wanted to go through his credentials, tell you what he had done, what I liked, what I didn't like, and my overall conclusion that I think he will be fine, and I do trust him to run this organization for years to come, in my opinion. I know he's a highly divisive figure. I get it. I've not thought highly of him for a while. I did not think highly of him during the Rafael Devers situation. I thought he handled that horribly. Horribly. But if you look at his entire track record, he's low-key kind of nailed it over the last few years. So you let me know, A, B, C, D, or F, Craig Breslow as the Red Sox GM. The deadline is a few weeks away. We will be live for the 2025 MLB Trade Deadline. We will also make videos every time the Red Sox make a move, and I expect them to be active. You know, David Robertson signs with the Philadelphia Phillies yesterday, and the Red Sox were the first team John Heyman said were also involved. The Red Sox are going to be aggressive, and when they make a move, we will make a video. That is my promise to you. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you join the family. We are growing this to be a daily thing. Every single day you are getting Red Sox coverage, including recaps of all 162 Red Sox games. Hit that subscribe button if you love the Red Sox as much as I do, and join the family today. All right, let's talk about the game. Red Sox win 6-1. Crucial win. You needed to win this. You could not get swept in your first series coming out of the All-Star break, because this next, week and a half, as we've talked about, is an absolute gauntlet. It is the most crucial 9 games of your entire season. It will determine whether or not you are a legit contender or not. The first 2 games, you were proving the doubters right. You were proving the doubters that 10-game win streak was an absolute fluke and that you were not a contender. You came out today at the time of recording this, yesterday, you came out and you said, you know what, doubters, screw you. Now, Garrett Crochet is the star of this game. He gives you six innings, 1 run, and it honestly wasn't even his best start. His command was all over the place. He gave up 8 hits, 2 walks. He only struck out 5. Like, his command just wasn't there. But he still gave you 6 innings and only 1 run. He kept you in this game, and he put you in a position to win. And then the Red Sox bats just absolutely exploded. You only get 7 hits, you strike out 9 times, but it is the 7th and 8th innings that absolutely do it for you. Wilyer Abreu goes yard twice. He has hit his 19th and 20th home runs of this season. Who would have thought that Wilyer Abreu would be the 20 home run hitter on the Red Sox this year? It wouldn't have been me, but he's here. And then my favorite moment of the entire game, Alex Bregman. I'm going to say this. I know it's not true. Cora came out and debunked it after, but I'm just going to say it because it sounds awesome. Bregman forces Cora's hand, persuades him to let him pinch hit, and comes in and hits a 3-run bomb to go up 5-1. Now again, Cora said that there was a conversation before the game and Alex Bregman felt good, but it just sounds badass for Bregman to be like, yo, put me in, I got this, and he goes and hits a bomb. But nonetheless, Alex Bregman comes in, the leader of the team, 3-run shot when you desperately needed it, made it 5-1, basically put it out of reach with how the pitching was and how the wind was blowing in at Wrigley. It's just balls were not leaving the yard. The Red Sox still had 3 home runs. Roman Anthony on a day when he's sick also goes 2 for 4. The Red Sox had a day, man. They had a day, and they did rely on the home run. That's where all of their run production came from, but But you just won the game, and a win is a win is a win. You find a way to win, and that's how they won yesterday. So now they sit a game and a half up in a wild card spot. They are tied with the Mariners for the second wild card spot, and you head to Philadelphia today to face Zach Wheeler. I'm just going to be honest. I think they lose tonight. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not. You have Walker Buehler on the mound for the Red Sox, and you have Zach Wheeler, who could very well end up winning the NL Cy Young this year. You have him for the Phillies. I think that's a loss. Guys, I don't want to, I tell you how it is here. I will not ever lie to you. I don't think they win today. I don't. I think that I'm going to chalk this one up to being a loss, but the rest of this series is doable. Christopher Sanchez on Tuesday, but you got Dick Fitz. I like that matchup for the Red Sox. And then you've got Jesus Luzardo on Wednesday, and you've got Lucas Giolito. I really like that matchup. Jesus Luzardo has not been as good as he has been in the past this year. I like that matchup. I could see the Red Sox taking 2 out of 3. I'm not going to predict that because the Phillies are a really good team, and I'm still not convinced that your offense is fully back. But just on pitching matchups alone, there is a conceivable future where you could win 2 out of 3. It's going to be interesting, though. Zach Wheeler on the mound tonight. That's going to be a toughie. That is going to be a toughie. You go down below in the comments, predict the Red Sox record against the Phillies. I'm going to say 1 out of 3. I'm just going to be honest, but I would not be surprised if it's 2 out of 3. I will say that. I'm going to say 1 out of 3. I would not be surprised if it's 2 out of 3. But you guys let me know. Predict the Red Sox record against the Phillies in this series. That's where I'm going to end it, guys. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch the video. Let me know your thoughts on everything we talked about today surrounding Craig Breslow. I want to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. And make sure you subscribe. Daily Red Sox videos, recap shorts after every single video. And then all the trade coverage is coming up. We're going to be live for the trade deadline. Every time the Red Sox make a trade, we'll make a video. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button. Join the family. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. And until next time, go Sox.